today I went on a walk this morning and I thought, what if just for the next hour or however long I'm out here, I just really try to appreciate everything. Everything I see, everyone I come across, everything that pops into my head, everything I'm thinking and feeling, whatever it is, what if I just try my best to appreciate that as much as I can? And I had a really transformative walk doing that. It was really amazing. I felt really, really good by the end of it. And I thought, why don't I do this all the time? Why isn't my whole life not just appreciate everything? It's really that simple. It's really that easy. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today is, being happy for no reason. Appreciating your life for no reason. While I was out there, I was even trying to appreciate negative things that would pop into my head. If I would feel some physical or mental resistance, I was walking for a long time, so as that started to wear on me, I was like, let me see if I can appreciate that. And I think a lot of us, when we're young, we get this strange subconscious program running where I don't think people mean to give us this. I don't think it's intentional the way that this ends up showing up for us. But a lot of the time it's like, if you don't do this when you're older, if you don't have this when you're older, you can't be happy. The way to be happy is to get this and to have this and to be this and to do this. And at a certain point when you're young, you start to think, well, I can't just be happy for no reason. I can't just be happy that I'm here. I can't just be, and that's good enough. I got to accomplish things. I got to make sure I've got a good job. I got to make sure I got a good house. I got to make sure I got a good spouse. Everything's got to be perfect or I'm not allowed to be happy. And those of you who have tried metaphysics and spirituality and manifesting and things like that before, I'm sure you have heard, this whole feelings thing of feel the wish fulfilled, as somebody like Neville Goddard might put it. Abraham, I think, also occasionally goes into feeling your way into manifesting what you want. And there's many, many people who will tell you that in order to manifest anything, you got to feel a certain way. I differ from that in the way that I think about it. I don't think you have to feel good to manifest what you want. And, if that were the case in my life, I never would have gotten anywhere because I felt bad for a lot of my life. So if you're telling me you've got to feel good or things will never get better, not exactly. Things can still get better. The universe, the universal energy, consciousness, oneness is still looking out for you, even when you're grumpy, even when you're in a bad mood. That's what I believe. You can believe whatever you want to believe. I'm not here to tell you that you need to believe what I believe. But rather than thinking that you have to feel good to manifest, that's the only way you're going to get what you want, and you must, and it's a responsibility and it's a prerequisite, what if you thought, I might as well feel good? It's not a need, it's not a necessity, but it's like, why wouldn't you want to feel good? Obviously, everybody on the planet probably wants to feel better. And a lot of what we do and a lot of what we consume is about, how do I feel better? Will this make me feel better? Will this make me feel better? Will this make me feel better? And it's very little about the self-possession of that, making the choice of my own volition. I'm just going to be happy. I'm going to be joyful. I'm going to feel better for no reason. And from that place, you can manifest whatever you want, and it's a lot easier because you're not so caught up in the result needing to happen today. If you want more money, which feels better? trying to manifest more money from a place of, oh my God, I hate my life, I hate everything about my life, I want to give up on my life because I've never had money and I feel like I never will, or, hey, I'm happy with what I have right now. It may not be everything I want, but I can fully appreciate everything that I've got right now, and I'll be happy whether money is here or not, and let's add some more money to that. I'm going to enjoy everything that shows up, regardless of what shows up, and let's add some more money. Which feels like an easier recipe for manifesting. Oh my God, I got to have some money or my life is over. Or, hey, my life's amazing. My life's wonderful. I'm grateful and appreciative of everything that I got in life, everything that I get to experience, and I'd like to experience some more money. It's really obvious which one of those is going to feel better. I'm not going to argue necessarily that being happy is going to work better. But it should be obvious to you that it's going to feel better. And that's what you're really going for, because the whole reason you want to manifest anything, the whole reason you want to create anything, the whole reason you want to experience anything is because you think it's going to make you happier. Otherwise, you wouldn't want it. If you thought it was going to make you feel worse, you'd say, get that away from me. And a lot of us, live this life, have this experience that is mostly about avoiding what I don't want to happen. It's not, we don't focus so much on what is it I want to experience. We focus on what do I not want to happen? What am I trying to avoid? All the things I have to do so I don't get in some kind of trouble. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's exhausting. It's really to be in that state of fear and avoidance and resistance all the time. It's pretty depleting. Luckily, you're connected to the infinite energy. You're one with the infinite energy. So you can't ever truly, really, on a spiritual level, be depleted. But physically speaking, you can create for yourself the experience of, oh man, I am so tired. I am so wrecked. I'm so exhausted. I'm so burnt out. Whatever, right? You can easily create all that, even if as a spirit, as a being, as an existence, as a creator, you're never depleted. There's always more energy. You can still feel in your physical body pretty run down by the way you're dealing with your experience and the way you're dealing with creation. So take the easier road, right? What's the easiest way to get to what I want? What do I want? Well, I want to be happy. Okay, what's the easiest way to get there? Decide that the only way I'm going to let myself be happy is if I manifest something that I believe is impossible to manifest and to prove out that I can do that. That's really exciting and it's really fun. And I'm not telling you not to go for something like that. But is that the quickest way to become happy? No. Is that the easiest way to become happy? No. What's the easiest way to become happy? I'm choosing it right now. I don't need to wait on anyone or anything. I appreciate myself. As the person here having this experience, I appreciate that I'm the experiencer. I don't need to have the experience perfect to appreciate it. I don't need to figure it out to appreciate it. I don't need to fix it to appreciate it. I can appreciate it right now, and it doesn't cost me a thing. So that's what we want to go for, right? We don't have to. We're not going for it because that's the only way we're going to get where we're going. We're choosing it because it's lighter and it's easier and it's more fun. It doesn't require us to be exhausted. It doesn't require us to be defeated. It doesn't require us to be in pain and suffering. And when we are those things, we try our best to appreciate that too. If I've got something that I'm in pain over, that I'm suffering over, that I'm struggling with, can I appreciate that? Can I appreciate that I get to be here having this experience? And even if I've been told that it's negative and I should judge it and I should fight it and I should resist it, can I just appreciate this wild, miraculous existence that I've got? I know that sounds sort of counterintuitive, and it might even sound counterproductive. But if you're having a rough go of things, and you will just try to see if it's possible that you could appreciate that, as nonsensical as that may look or seem or feel, that will lift such a burden off of you. And if you can appreciate a less than desirable position, you'll really appreciate everything, right? Versus, I have had times in my life where I had a lot more money than I have in this present moment, but I didn't appreciate it at all. And so what was the point? Maybe on a surface level kind of way, I felt better having way more money. But I was nowhere near as happy as I am in life right now. I was nowhere near as self-actualized in life as I am right now. I was not even close to the level of freedom and joy that I experience on a day-to-day basis right now. I was nowhere near it. Financially and economically, many people would argue I had more freedom. But if you are still grappling with an internal dis-ease, with an internal I don't like myself, with an internal uneasiness about something, if you're still grappling with a discontent, the financial freedom doesn't really add up to much. You choose to do things with it that are not actually satisfying to you. You're chasing a high that you're never going to let yourself have until you start to appreciate yourself, until you start to appreciate your life, until you start to appreciate life itself. And once you do that, everything gets sweeter, everything gets brighter, everything gets easier. And you will see that the things you've been struggling with truly are a no-brainer. Whatever you're struggling with right now, I don't say this to diminish it. I don't say it to minimize your experience or try to act like you're not having a rough go of things. Whatever you're struggling with right now, if you will truly appreciate your life and appreciate your life and appreciate your life and let nothing stop you from appreciating your life, you will open up the space inside yourself where anything you're struggling with, anything you've ever struggled with in your whole life, is a no-brainer. I've dealt with really terrible loss in my life. And I spent a majority of my 20s doing really strange stuff to try and rectify the sense of internal loss and the sense of internal sadness and misery that I experienced. And I know now, from having those experiences and from examining those experiences, that the number one thing is to be with yourself, to appreciate yourself, to appreciate. When I say appreciate yourself, I don't necessarily mean this personality that you've created, this character that you're playing in the drama. You can appreciate that. You can appreciate what people make of you and, the positive and negative ways that people judge you and how they assess you when they encounter you in a physical space. There's no reason not to appreciate that. But when I say appreciate yourself, I mean as the person, as the being, as the energy having this experience right now, choosing to have this experience right now, and capable of enjoying this experience right now. when you connect to that greater part of yourself, this character that you're playing, the stakes are not so miserable. You're still invested, you still like it, you still enjoy it, but you're not so downtrodden about it. And as I say, I've experienced some just excruciating loss in my life. And for the longest time, there was nothing anybody could say to me about it to make it better. There was nothing anybody could do for me to make it better. It felt like I had this weight around my neck that was just never going to go. And, you know, it's very popular to talk about healing, and it's very popular to talk about going to therapy, but I knew for myself, I can only speak for myself, but I knew for myself there was nobody I was going to talk to who was going to make what I experienced as a kid okay for me. As far as I was concerned, it would not be possible for me to talk my way through some of the things that I've experienced in life. It just wouldn't be possible. And then as I've gotten older, I've had this very strange realization that you might not be able to relate to, but I hope that this might help you. I realized I didn't need to make it right. I didn't need to fix it. I didn't need to heal it. I didn't need to look back at what I had experienced, as painful as it may have been in those moments. I didn't need to look at that as anything had gone wrong. If I could go back and change it all, I don't think I would. I might. If I started my whole life over again, I might do things differently because that would be interesting. But I don't think anymore that I have a sense of like, I wish I could have made things better for myself as a kid, or I wish I could have made things better for my mom before she died, or anything like that. Because I see that I'm having the experience now. And I can appreciate that the experience I'm having now can be informed by what I've experienced in the past, but it doesn't have to be set by it. It doesn't have to be defined by it. What I can experience today can be inspired by what I experienced yesterday, but yesterday doesn't decide what's on the menu today. Yesterday doesn't decide how good today can be. And I just don't really dwell on it anymore. I can talk about it for the sake of illuminating things for other people, but it doesn't really hurt me anymore. And it hurt me for a really long time. And that was kind of just something that I wish I had known sooner was there for me to experience. That I didn't need to run away from those feelings, that I didn't need to pour those feelings into negative outlets, that I didn't need to do anything about. That it was okay that they were there. And you know, if reaching out to people is good for you, it helps you, I would absolutely never suggest you not to do something that helps you. Do whatever works for you. But if for whatever reason you don't have anybody to talk to, you can't afford professional help, the professional help that you can have access to is not as good as it could be, whatever it is, I want you to know that you're strong enough as you are to live through this experience. And that you are strong enough to receive the good from this experience, even if it seems like there is none. And you are strong enough to transform whatever experience you're having into whatever experience you want to have. May not look instantaneous. You may not feel instantaneous. It can be. But your path doesn't have to look like anybody else's. And the way other people tell you should walk the path, there's a lot of helpful insight in some of that. But ultimately, you're the one walking the path. So it is up to you to choose how you want to walk it and what's going to be best for you. So if people project at you that there's a certain way you should be processing your experience, they're misguided, right? There are some people in life right now, in our experience, who have such a lack of control over their own experience. They believe that they have a lack of control over their own experience. The truth is, nobody has any lack of control over their experience. But there are people who are frustrated by their experience, and they feel a lack of control, whether they consciously identify it that way or not. And part of the way that they release pressure on that is to criticize other people, to condemn other people, to judge other people. And as I always and often have to say, I'm not here to come down on anybody. It's not my place. They're having a different experience than me. And from my own experience, I can try to illuminate that for myself. But ultimately, I don't actually know what their experience is and what they're choosing. I only know what I'm choosing to experience. But it seems to me that there are people who are quite frustrated with their lives, and they will criticize other people for any number of things. Some of them sensible things to criticize people for, and some of them nonsensical things to criticize people for. As far as I am concerned, any moment that you are criticizing anyone, especially yourself, is a moment where you could appreciate yourself and the miracle of life. And I am not even close to perfect at this. I get annoyed at people constantly. I have opinions about what people are doing and choosing constantly because I'm not, some old wizened enlightened sage who never dips into some very human behavior. But ultimately, you got to drop the baggage sometime. You got to not be worried about how people are going to criticize you sometime. Because the only people who are going to criticize you, really, have the time and the energy to put into criticizing you that they could be putting into creating their own destiny, creating their own experience, having some, because to me, the experience of sitting in the comments talking about a famous person that I don't like is a pretty miserable experience. I don't want to do that. And if there are people who really, that's the experience they came here to planet Earth to have, was to criticize other people, More power to them. But that's not what I want. And I don't think you want for your experience to be, I'm afraid of what those people think. What do you really want your experience to be? I'm going to ask this probably in every video because it's never a bad question to ask. It's always going to inspire you, even if it's only 1%. You know, you might hear that question, what do I really want to experience? And your mind might go to, well, it's not possible for me to experience what I want to experience. Got to snap out of that. You got to wake up. Whatever you want to experience is totally possible. And you can get there, even if nobody else in your life can even understand where it is you want to go. But let's go back to this whole thing of just being happy for no reason. Wouldn't that be a relief if you could just trust yourself to just be happy for no reason, to just encounter life like it is a gift, like you don't need to resist the act of living? Part of what inspired me to start doing this was I was catching myself more and more every day resisting the act of being alive. I didn't want to die. I have never in my life wanted to die. When I think about dying, I, in the past, have gotten so terrified it cripples me. So, like, but what I mean is the idea of, like, I got to eat, and I got to exercise, and I got to make money, and that stuff just started to feel more and more like a chore to me and like something I have to do. And the number of things that I have to do to maintain existence was getting longer and longer. And the number of things that I wanted to exist for was getting shorter and shorter. Until eventually I got to a place where I was like, man, I do not appreciate that I am alive very often, if at all. Like, if you asked me in a vacuum, do I appreciate the miracle of life? I would have said yes. And I would have moments on the phone with friends and stuff where I could articulate an appreciation for the miracle of life. But as a day-to-day, moment-to-moment experience, I was like, why do I have to tie my shoes? Why do I have to get out of bed? Why do I have to do anything? Why do I have to cook and clean and all this stuff? Like, what is any of it for? I really was lost. And I just reached a point where I knew I had to turn it around because there was no reason to live the way that I was living. But when you have in your mind the possibility that you could be happy for no reason, suddenly you have the simplest purpose that you could ever have. When you have in mind that you could be happy, that's better than having in mind that you'll never be happy again, or that there's nothing to make you happy, there's nothing you're interested in. Like, if you just say, I'm never going to be happy again, that's obviously, as I well know, not a very good headspace to occupy. And some of us go, well, I could be happy if, for me, I was like, on my most depressed days, I would go, well, maybe 6 months from now, I'll be able to go to Japan. And that would get me really excited. And getting really excited about that for a couple of minutes would be enough for me to get through the day or whatever. As sad as that probably sounds in a vacuum. But I would just think about different things that I maybe could do that definitely weren't going to happen today. But, I could almost envision a future where those things would be possible, especially because a lot of them I had already done in my life. But the more and more mentally unwell you get, the harder and harder really easy things seem. So it's not bad to have a tangible physical goal. I want to make this much money, or I want a relationship, or I want, a bigger house, or a house period, or whatever, right? Like, to have some kind of physical target that you can move towards, that'll motivate you. But if you really had as a target an ever-present appreciation for your life, that's such a limitless goal. That's such a limitless target, because it's something that you can always move towards. It's something you can always choose. It's something that you can always check in with yourself and see, how much am I appreciating the moment right now? And it's not to beat yourself up if you're not appreciating it, right? Part of the reason I don't use the word grateful and gratitude as often as I use the word appreciation is, when you're a kid, people are like, you should be grateful, right? And a lot of people are like, oh, if you use gratitude in the same way you use feeling good, you'll get more. And it's like, yeah, I agree with that. I can see that. In my experience, that generally rings as true. But I don't want to say that you have to be anything. Because as soon as someone tells you you have to be something, your resistance goes way up. You don't have to be happy. You don't have to be or do anything, as far as I'm concerned. What do you want? What do you really want? If you didn't have to fight or resist what anybody else tells you, what do you really want? It's probably to be happy. It's probably to appreciate your life. It's probably to enjoy your life. So having that as a target, as an idea in your awareness, you can be with that every single day. Even on the days you don't necessarily feel like doing anything else. It's simple. It's easy. And it will make everything else easier. Because the more you are being with the part of yourself that is infinitely joyful, that is happy for no reason, that is just here and loves to experience being here, right? On a metaphysical level, some part of you must love to create experience, or you wouldn't do it. You would have checked out a long time ago. So some part of you loves to create experiences, and some part of you must love to experience them. And that part of you doesn't have nearly as much judgment as the human realm does about what you experience. And so you see, wow, there really is some part of me that's just joyful, that's just creative, that's just doesn't need to think about it, doesn't need to assess it, doesn't need to give it a letter grade, doesn't need to score it, doesn't need to rank it. It's just infinitely creative. And my whole life I've been trained to judge things. And when has that judgment genuinely ever made me any happier? Well, it makes me happier when I get the right, good, positive judgment. But anytime I'm not getting the right, good, positive judgment, I'm on the hook trying to figure out, how do I get that good judgment and how do I avoid that bad judgment? But you know that there's a part of you that is just radiating joy And it's become a popular turn of phrase over the last number of years, this idea of toxic positivity, right? But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about trying to ignore anything that is difficult in your life, anything that is painful in your life, anything that constitutes suffering in your life. It's not about ignoring it. It's about meeting it and receiving it and appreciating it for what it is. Because I'm sure you've had an experience where something you didn't want to happen was happening and you resisted it as hard as you could. And how good did that feel? And let me ask you another question. Did you resisting it as hard as you could change it for the better? Maybe. But in my experience, 99% of the time, no. I think a lot of us are walking around hyper vigilant that we need to be in a bad mood and a fearful headspace for the 1% of the time that might possibly enable us to deal with something. But in my experience, 99% of the time, I'm fearful, I'm negative, I'm jumping to conclusions, I'm feeling awful. That has not led me to make choices that have made my life closer to what I want it to be. I would feel comfortable saying that has never once, for me, created something that I would want if I was choosing from an expanded awareness. And you really look at it. Do you really think that if you were joyful and open and receptive, that your ability to handle situations that might be of some perceived harm to you, do you really think that would be so compromised? This is something that we've all experienced when we were kids. You are joyful and you got not a care in the world, and somebody tells you that is somehow going to get you in trouble. That you need to pay attention and you need to take things seriously, because if you don't, you're going to screw your life up. I'm willing to bet whoever told you that, probably in the moment that they told you that, might have had some notion that they either screwed their life up already, or that if they didn't really pay attention and be serious about everything, their life was about to get really screwed up. And just feel that come off of you when you recognize all these people who have given me advice that I need to just be downtrodden and I need to just be frozen and I need to just be constantly on guard for threats. All of these people had no idea how amazing life is in the moment that they were choosing to try and hand me that as a roadmap. We, as a species, have relied upon the great artists to let us know how beautiful life can be. We've, relied upon Hollywood. We've relied upon whoever we've relied upon. Anymore, you can't even trust Hollywood for that. You could never really trust them. But now especially, they're like, everything is miserable. And I love miserable movies, so don't get me wrong. But it's like we have not exactly lived in a world up until now where the common man was given permission to see the radiance and the magnificence of life for himself. Like once a year or once every few years or at the major life moments or on the holidays or whatever, right? We have not really built a society where the common man, every moment of every day, is like, what are we doing here? This is amazing. What can we create here? This is incredible. They're like, you need to be behind a desk doing something of very little value to the grand scheme of things for less money than you enjoy, and you need to be stressed out about it from the age of 20 to the age of 65, and then we'd prefer for you to either have enough money to prop up the healthcare system for 20 or 30 years or drop dead so we can charge you some money for your funeral. Right? Like, it's not, it hasn't exactly been, I'm kidding, by the way. I don't want to paint a negative picture for anyone. That was a joke. But you know, the average Joe has not ever really been given permission to see that life is incredible at every moment and to experience life that way and to carry that everywhere they go and to share that with everyone they meet. When I say that, it's like if anybody did that, they'd be nuts, right? Because that's how averse we are to just radiating appreciation for life wherever we go. There are very few people, I don't want to say there are very few, but there are people in your life who you notice doing that. And you are so glad anytime you encounter them, unless you're like really depressed and then it's kind of like nails on a chalkboard. But for the most part, when there's somebody who's really just happy for no reason, you're like, thank God. Thank God. And it's something that lives inside all of us. But for most of us, it is buried by a misinterpretation by others and by us of what we've experienced so far. So, right now, just see, could I be happy for no reason at all? Even just a little bit, 1%. And it's not like you're going to be graded, you need to start smiling, any of that, no. It's the internal thing we're talking about. Could I be happy for no reason at all? Is that possible? In the great, infinite, ever-expanding cosmos, in all of the different universes and realities that could ever possibly exist, would it be possible for me to be happy for no reason? Could I appreciate whatever I'm experiencing right now? And could I just add in a little bit of happy for no reason? And it's something that you can just build and build and build. You can go as far as you're willing to go with this. And if for whatever reason, when I ask you, could you be happy for no reason? If a reason comes up that you can't be happy, could you let that go and receive? Could you let that go and appreciate? I've tried a bunch of different modalities that are about letting go, that are about releasing, that are about, and I love them all. They've all been invaluable gifts to me. But what I realized recently was I can motivate myself to let go with what I want to experience, with what I want to receive, with my ideal state. The things that I'm most attached to feel a little bit more difficult to let go of than the things I'm not attached to at all, obviously. And so when I say, can you just let go and receive? Can you just let go and appreciate? Can you just let go and be happy for this moment? That motivates you to really see the things you've held on to as if they're in the way of your happiness. Nothing is in the way of your happiness. It's a misperception. It's a faulty idea that in order for me to be happy, I need to get this thing out of the way. In order for me to be happy, I need to get my whole money situation fixed. In order for me to be happy, I need the perfect partner, I need the perfect body, I need everything perfect, and then I'll be happy for 10 seconds until it all goes haywire, and then I'll be miserable again. There's nothing in the way of your happiness. There's nothing in the way of your happiness at all. And sometimes you hear that and you go, well, if there's nothing in the way of my happiness, why am I not happy? And you'll go, oh, it's me. I'm the problem. You're not. There's nothing in the way of your happiness. You're not the problem. There is no problem. There are things in this life that you'd like to change. There are things in this life that you'd like to get rid of. There are things in this life that you'd like to be different. And sometimes we call those things problems. You can change all that stuff. You're powerful enough to change all of that stuff. But you can be happy right now. You can appreciate your life right now. You can enjoy your life right now. So right now, as much as you are willing, appreciate yourself. Appreciate your body. Appreciate that you're having this physical experience on planet Earth. Appreciate that in some way you don't even have language for, some bigger, greater thing that you are intrinsically one with is creating this miraculous, incredible experience, better than any theme park for you to enjoy. Just let yourself appreciate that as much as you can right now. And then what is it? What is it really that I want to experience? And if your mind goes to something definite, something physical, something emotional, something, oh, if I got $10,000, if I got a vacation to Bali, if I got a new car, whatever it is, if you're going to what would I like to experience and it's something tangible, that's great. Keep that. I'm not telling you you can't have that. You can have anything you want. But I'm inviting you to look what's underneath that. I want the $10,000 because I think that would make me happier. I want to go on a vacation because I think that would make me happier. I want the ideal partner because I think that would make me happier. Pretty much everything you want is either about something making you happier or avoiding pain. So right now, let yourself experience what you really want. In physical reality, you will address the specifics. You will address the different pictures, the different images, the different forms, the different fantasies that you can package your own happiness up in. But for right now, just let yourself experience what you really want. To be in this boundless, infinite, free space where you give yourself permission to be what you are. To be joyful. To be happy for no reason. It's easy. It's so easy. And every time you give yourself permission to go there, it will get even easier. If it feels difficult right now, that's okay. Let it be easy. You're just unmasking yourself to you. You're just revealing yourself to you. It's not any more complicated than that. It's so easy that our mind thinks it can't possibly be true. Let your mind be renewed and restored. Let your mind be your friend again. Don't blame your mind for the nonsense that it has picked up across your lifetime. You were there having that experience. Don't blame your mind for repeating the misperceptions that it's picked up. Just let yourself be happy for no reason. And again, can I appreciate whatever I'm experiencing right now to the absolute fullest? And what would I really like to experience? First, as the truth of what it really is. Let me identify. Whatever it is I want to experience, it's probably really about being happier, being more joyful. And once I can see that I have that foundation already in place, that that's already possible, if nothing about physical reality were to change at all, I can be happier today. Then I can look out at the world, out at physical reality, and I can go, how do I want to express this? How do I want to experience my own joy? And I can decide it's a vacation. I can decide it's going on a date. I can decide it's making a ton of money. I can decide it's whatever I want. Because I've already got everything I need. I already am the energy, the life force, the creator, the experiencer, the receiver. I'm all of it. So whatever I look out there and choose is from me. I don't lack it and need it to come to me because I can't be it on my own. It exists out there for me to receive, for me to enjoy, for me to luxuriate in. but it comes from in here. It's already here with me, whether I've got the things or not. The things are just an expression of what I am. I don't need the things to correct what I am not. If you've been thinking lowly of yourself lately or your whole life, and you're trying to get things to fix that, you're trying to get something to fix what you are not. You don't need to do that. What you are will provide you with everything you've ever dreamed of. It's already happening. It already exists. So guys, thank you so much as always. It is endlessly beneficial for me to come on and do this. And the fact that you guys watch is a motivating factor for me. I would do it even if you guys weren't watching, but I like that you're watching. So if you could like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that jazz. And as always, I'll keep saying it, if you have any questions, any comments, any concerns, if you have anything that you would like help with, I am here. I'm not the expert, I'm not the guru, but if there's anything at all that I can contribute to you, I would love to. So let me know, and I'll see you guys again very soon. Bye-bye.